It's all about power today. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing some Mark 8 development. Great news, guys. Now we can communicate with a Mark 8 platform ECUs. Now this gives us the ability to start development work on the engine and also the gearbox. So the Mark 8 GTI is fundamentally running the same engine as the previous Mark 7 generation. Cams are slightly different, piston rods are pretty much the same, and the block is pretty much the same height, depth and compression ratio. Now the differences boil down to the turbocharger. It now runs slightly larger turbos from factory, so the Mark 8 GTI, although it comes out of the factory with 245 brake horsepower, it is an actual bigger turbocharger to the IS20 that came in the Mark 7, and also the Mark 8R, which we are going to cover in another vlog for development, has a larger turbo than the IS38. Also, as per GPF vehicles, these cars are now equipped with GPF, so the port injection has been removed from factory, so we don't get as much torque lower down because we haven't got the fueling required. The high pressure fuel pump now runs a lot more fuel pressure, and also the intake pipe differs between the GTI and the R. So now, although the fundamentals are similar, there's a lot that plays into the amount of power that you can achieve from it. Also, stuff like this is now universal, so it has no VW badging, so it's going to be used on a Seat and a Skoda, etc. Now the diverter valve on the Mark 8 GTI is on the turbo housing, but the Mark 8R is down by the throttle body on the charge pipe itself. So there are some fundamental differences between the GTI and the R. So like I said, we'll cover that on a Mark 8R development episode very soon. So it looks like they've gone backwards as well. They've gone for a bonnet stay lever instead of a hydraulic strut that the old Mark 8s used to have. But I think we'll take it for a drive, we'll get it on the dyno, do some baseline runs, data log it all, go through the data and start building up some calibrations for this car. So guys, it isn't the first time we are in this Mark 8 GTI. We did have this car when we handed over our G80 for development work, so we had this for a week or so. And I had some issues with the interior, the sat nav, the controls, the lane assist, even the key fob just annoyed me. So there's certain things that I'm annoyed about with this car already, but I'll tell you something, Scorpion have done a fantastic job with the sound. Like for a GPF car, it sounds amazing in comparison to how it sounded as stock. So what we're going to do actually as well as the data log being connected to the car, recording real-time road sensor data, we're also going to do some draggies. Now we're going to do draggies on a new scale. We're actually going to do a draggy between 50 kilometers an hour and 100 kilometers an hour, and then 100 kilometers an hour to 150 kilometers an hour. And the reason being is because a car this size with this little power does struggle to do 100 to 200 in less than 17-18 seconds, and that is not something to gauge the performance by, especially on a light, nimble kind of hot hatch. So these new scales are what we're going to use in a smaller car in comparison to this typical 100 to 200 kilometers an hour. It's a bit more real world as well, because going from 30 to 70 mile an hour, you're going to notice the difference once we've done our development work. So not only are we creating, you know, power and torque from this car, we're actually going to collect that data that's usable on a daily basis. You finished your banana, mate?
Done. I don't litter, but can I play Mario Kart or something? Fold a banana.
It's all about power today, power and torque, and maybe, I don't know, like, let's see if we can turn off this lane assist issue that keeps coming up. It's quite damp today, so traction control is working as it should. Now obviously with development work on a front wheel drive platform, we do have to take into account wheel spin, so we can't solely rely on traction control to kind of reduce or spin. We're going to have to try and taper torque and make it usable as well. So although this might be one episode that we're doing development on, it's going to be a couple of weeks that we're fine-tuning this car on the road, on the dyno, back on the road, etc. So yeah, what you see isn't always what you get. Lane assist is constantly vibrating. I don't know what gear I'm in when it's in drive. So this is the OBD11 adapter. It is a wireless adapter for coding and diagnosing on the VW platform. There is going to be support for BMW coding and programming too. It's quite simple. Fit that into the OBD port, turn the ignition on, and then load up the app. So you can use it on iOS and Android. We're going to use it on iOS today. So once it's connected and we've connected the dongle to the Bluetooth, we'll just scan all elements. So that goes through all the control modules, tells us of any faults on the car in each module before we start any sort of programming. So we are going to do a bit of coding on this and turn off the annoyances. So this scanning modules does take a while as it goes through every single module, but it should tell us of all the faults already. There's 3 in the engine, 3 in the ABS, and there's 28 in other various modules. Now, majority of these faults are going to be from when Scorpion have done their development work on there, so they might have disconnected something and not deleted any of the fault codes, but we'll check it. So one thing to note is all the Mark 8 vehicles come with an SFD lock, which is, I think it translates from German Schutzfahrzeug Diagnose, and that basically locks all control modules for any sort of programming or adaptations. So what the beauty of the OBD11 is, it can allow unlock of all the modules, so you can constantly change anything you want without paying unlock fees every time. So in total there's 64 problems found. So if we go to the vehicle, we can actually click on the control modules and see where these problems are. So engine, there's actually 3 faults in there. So it says lost communication with HVAC, particle filter pressure sensor, and engine restart performance. So again, these are usually faults from when batteries were disconnected, so we can actually clear them faults. So it's cleared them faults off the engine ECU. Now the beauty is with this OBD11 you can actually do your own data login. So if you were to purchase a tune from us remotely with the NVMR, the OBD11 is a great tool for you to have to do any sort of data login on the car. For example, like particle filter, soot load, ignition angle, etc. It will show you all on the actual screen in live data. So as well as data login, you can see the immediate adjustments for this car. So you can have, for example, window auto drop, open door alarm, lights off while driving, so it gets rid of that center bar while you're driving, so the DRLs can turn off. Lane assist warn intensity, transmission temperatures, engine power displays that are on the R models, you can transfer it over to the GTI, and lock and lock acoustic confirmation. Now what I need to activate on this is a lane assist setting memory, because when we're on the road we constantly have to turn off that lane assist. So again, this is the perfect app to do any sort of coding and retrofits to your Mark 8 platform. The guys from OBD11 are very helpful and professional, and they can answer your technical questions if you do have any. So drop them an email and they'll get back to you as soon as they can. The actual OBD11 is VAG approved and soon to be BMW approved, and we'll cover the coding on a BMW on a later episode. So we've taken a backup of the engine ECU, and we're just going to back up the gearbox ECU as well. It is the DQ381, very similar to the Mark 7.5 from previous generation, although the software is completely different. Internally, we're going to lift the torque limiters and reduce shift speeds and increase that neutral limiter too before we actually get tuning on the engine side of things. Obviously, a lot of development is going to go into the shift response, how it shifts, when it shifts, and the data too, but we'll do that after initial stage 1 calibrations. So a couple of runs on the dyno in stock form. Yes, it's got a GPF back system, which does help overall kind of peak power. It's made 256 brake horsepower, 405 newton meters of torque. What's interesting to see is that although the turbocharger does overboost in certain areas, the throttle body doesn't close as much as previous Mark 7s did. Also, I can see there's like a 50% wastegate duty cycle cap in there. So there's good potential to be had from this. So a lot of work to do, mate. So guys, just a couple of revisions in, and all we've done is lifted them torque limitations in kind of all modes at this moment in time, just to test how the turbocharger responds, and the boost pressure has increased. We've not even messed with the ignition timing at the minute, and it's 274 brake, 444 newton meters of torque. So it seems like this is where the Mark 8 GTI was probably developed at, and then they've kind of capped it with torque. So now we can actually increase the amount of boost pressure, turbine speed, efficiency, and also timing, and see what we can do. So we're at the 300 brake horsepower mark, and I've also activated overrun. Sounds good, doesn't it? I think there's a bit more in it, but let's see. So what's quite interesting with this setup is intake temperatures are starting to rise, but I think just before peak we can actually gain a bit more torque at about 4,000 RPM by activating the cam angle. Now previously, when we used to do that on the Simos 18, for example on the Golf R Mark 7, intake temperatures had to be low enough for it to be efficient, because increasing the amount of angle can also increase intake temperatures because of EGTs. So we're just going to do a few checks with the thermal camera and also the infrared thermal probe, and just make sure everything runs as it should. Also, we've noticed on the actual intercooler pipework, the actual bore of the pipework is smaller on the charger outlet, and actually on the intercooler outlets, inlet and outlets too. So that's going to affect overall efficiency of that stock intercooler location. That does, doesn't it? So final results, guys. NVM stage 1 mapping on this DNPA Mark 7 GTI, 322 brake horsepower, 500 newton meters of torque. As I said before, intake cam adjustments makes a massive difference on the mid-range of this, and we have tapered it the best we can for a front wheel drive setup. So there's a lot more testing to do. We've got to take it on the road and make sure we see exactly what we've seen on the dyno as we do on the road, and also make any adjustments necessary to the pedal or overrun, etc. So on the road, the car feels different straight away, doesn't it?
Yeah, responsive.
Obviously, over the last couple of days, we have been developing the gearbox side of things, so setting the shift points for drive and sport, for example, has allowed us to kind of get a nice smooth shift every time, isn't it?
This is a different day, guys. This ain't the same day. So, like 5 days later. I noticed we're in different clothes. 5 days later, I've had a haircut. Yeah, I did kind of mention that at the beginning of the video, that although it's kind of in one vlog, it's multiple days.
Over a couple of days. Good thing is the sound actor is turned off, and the lane assist coding has worked as well, so it's not interrupting, and the stop-start off. Like, it's a better car already.
The best.
Just from the help of OBD11. Cheers, guys. So as I said before, on the Draggy we have set our own scale for speed testing, so it should give you an idea as to the difference stage 1 tuning makes in comparison to stock. So I'll get times to throw the original times on the screen now, and then we're just going to collect some data now for the stage 1. does a 50 to 100 kilometers an hour in 3.04 seconds, so almost a second off in usable terms, and 100 to 150 kilometers an hour in 4.6. I'll show them on the screen now. So that's real world difference with NVM stage 1 tuning and gearbox tuning on a Mark 8 GTI. There's nimble on it. You can feel the torque. I mean, I've tried to limit the amount of slip without kind of overboarding the traction control system on this. I've also played with the launch control, so if you can throw in some launch shots right now. I've tried to make part launch usable on a front wheel drive so we can get some quarter mile times from this in stock form in comparison to NVM stage 1. Crazy, isn't it?
Mad.
First and second gear I've still left the torque limiter in there so it doesn't spin off like crazy, and it's usable, like I said, off the launch. But
drive car, isn't it?
I mean, it's a rival to the Golf R. The Golf R comes out with 320 brake horsepower, so I mean, taking up a GTI, yes, it's front wheel drive, but I think we need to do a comparison with the Golf R.
This versus stock Golf R.
So who's got a stock Mark 8 R they want to set against this Mark 8 GTI?
Yeah, the stage 1 GTI.
Is it hardly any slip? I'm falling to the ground.
You can't bring the back end out of this, can you?
You can with a bit of lift off oversteer.
I didn't say try it, you know, I just wondering.
Wait!
Another day, another petrol station visit.
At least we know we're putting 99 on fuel. Yeah.
At least be careful our vehicles. Only the best.
So I hope everyone enjoyed that episode today on the Mark 8 GTI development. Again, huge shout out to Scorpion Exhaust for lending us their car, and I think they've left us a present in the boot for the next episode. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one.